Well, it's not working. A new poll conducted by Newsweek shows that her popularity is down 8 points from June. She's underwater in her net approval rating. 33% of people reported their dislike for her. 31% said she was okay to them. I guess the rest don't have an opinion.
When listing off the products in the paperwork, now she filed that paperwork for as ever in September of last year, just weeks after, we saw the cracks starting to appear when it came to the American Riviera Orchard trademark.
January 20th, 2026, LAX airport, middle of the afternoon, cameras flashing in the distance, travelers rushing past with carry-ons in hand. According to online reports, Meghan Markle stepped into the security line with her signature calm, dark sunglasses on, team close behind, moving like she owned the terminal. Witnesses claim she looked fully in control, like this was just another smooth glide through a space she knows well. But this time, observers say the energy shifted. Instead of breezing through, security allegedly paused her for additional screening. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. No raised voices, just standard protocol when something unusual appears on a scanner.
First, though, as the Duchess of Sussex continues to dominate the news following her bombshell interview this week, we're asking if America is falling out of love with Meghan. It follows headlines like this, which made the front page of the New York Post. Ross King is live in LA. Good morning, Ross. Have you noticed a shift, Ross? What is the public's response to Meghan right now? Good morning, Ross. Have you noticed a shift, Ross? What is the public's response to Meghan right now?
Yeah, good morning, Christine. Yeah, I definitely have noticed a shift out here. And I think a lot of that has to do with the timing of all the things that we've been hearing. A lot of the news programs and the entertainment shows here were...
Sources familiar with airport screening procedures say the bags were flagged not because of clothes or electronics, but because of dense uniform blocks showing up inside several designer suitcases. Nothing loose, nothing messy, just tightly packed shapes that didn't resemble typical travel items. That alone reportedly was enough to trigger a secondary inspection, and that's when, according to witnesses, the mood changed. The cool confidence people are used to seeing allegedly faded. Phone calls were reportedly made. Her team appeared focused and serious, shifting from travel mode to what some described as quiet damage control. No shouting, no chaos, just tension hanging in the air. Now here's where the online chatter exploded. Sources claim the suitcases allegedly contained large amounts of cash bundled tightly with no personal items mixed in. Not souvenir money, not everyday spending cash, but an amount significant enough, according to commentators, to raise procedural questions under international travel regulations. To be clear, these remain unverified reports. No official agency has confirmed the details and no public statement has been released. However, individuals familiar with customs rules explain that transporting substantial sums of money across borders typically requires proper declarations and documentation. That's not scandal, that's standard law. According to the same circulating reports, there was confusion surrounding the purpose and intended destination of the funds. Not accusations, not verdicts, just unanswered questions that allegedly slowed the process and drew attention from multiple layers of airport security. Some online commentators are even claiming this wasn't described as a one-off situation.
Reflects on you as the mother, because fine, they're kids, they're running around. Fine, I get that, but you're putting them on social media. Comb the hair, change the diaper, change the clothes. No. And it started bothering me. So I reached out to some people because I've been listening and hearing to some rumbles online. Lord and behold, we see Meghan Markle promoting her wine, her sparkling wine or whatever it is that she wanted to promote it. She seems to have a lot of it left over because nobody's buying it. She's giving it away at parties. And we're going to talk specifically about the Emma Griddett party because they
allege a pattern of similar travel setups in the past. Again, there has been no public confirmation from authorities and no formal findings have been announced. But the image of a routine airport walk suddenly turning into a flagged inspection? That's the kind of moment that sends the internet into overdrive. Footage is rumored to exist, allegedly captured by internal airport security cameras. If it's real, analysts say it would likely show nothing more than routine procedure, not misconduct. Still, the mere possibility of that footage has sent social media into a frenzy. Clips don't even have to surface anymore. Just the idea that cameras were rolling is enough to spark endless threads, breakdowns, and wild theories online. Here's what actually matters. There have been no charges, no official findings, no public confirmation. Everything tied to this situation remains allegation and online interpretation, not established fact. That part is important. But the reason the story keeps moving is because the claims themselves sound unusual. And when official channels stay quiet, the internet fills the silence fast. When large sums of cash move across international borders, the rules are straightforward. Travelers must declare the funds and explain where the money came from, where it's going, and what it's for. These aren't optional steps. They're standard financial reporting requirements designed to prevent irregularities. According to sources familiar with customs procedures and online discussions, some reports claim Meghan Markle allegedly struggled to give clear answers to those basic questions. There were claims of uncertainty about the origin of the cash.
Flex on you as the mother. Because fine, they're kids, they're running around. Fine, I get that. But you're putting them on social media. Comb the hair, change the diaper, change the clothes. No. And it started bothering me. So I reached out to some people because I've been listening and hearing to some rumbles online. Lord and behold, we see Meghan Markle promoting her wine, her sparkling wine or whatever it is that she want to promote it. She seems to have a lot of it left over because nobody's buying it. She's giving it away at parties. And we're going to talk specifically about the emigrated party because there was drugs.
Its intended use and why physical currency was chosen instead of traceable transfers. Multiple explanations were reportedly floated by her team. Some alleged reasons included business expenses, service payments, or personal investment funds. But finance analysts point out that legitimate large-scale transactions typically move through banks, backed by contracts and documentation. That's the norm. Suitcases filled with physical currency for major deals? That's what raised eyebrows in these reports. Then there's the timing, which commentators continue to debate. The situation allegedly happened not long after a high-profile trip to Nigeria involving Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. That visit was publicly presented as a charitable appearance connected to the Invictus Games. On the surface, it looked routine. However, reports at the time claimed the couple traveled by private jet allegedly provided by airline executive Alan Anima, a figure later mentioned in media coverage regarding legal issues in the United States. No official link has been confirmed between these events, but online, the dots keep getting connected anyway. Public records cited by journalists indicate that Alan Anima is reportedly wanted by U.S. federal authorities over accusations involving complex financial transactions through American banks.
All that they just really want a private existence for their kids. And while I've always thought that Meghan potentially was not actually pregnant, I had initially believed that the child was real. He was just born of a surrogate. Like that's as far as my mind would extend towards conspiracy.
We don't know if a meeting is definitely going to take place. We do know that Duke of Sussex is very keen to see his father. I think the key issue is that if any details of this meeting, should it go ahead, are leaked to the media, that could compromise a reconciliation. Because what I'm told is at the heart of all of this.
These allegations are documented and tied to him personally, not to Meghan Markle or Prince Harry. That distinction matters. Still, online critics keep pointing to the optics. Accepting private international flights from someone later linked in media reports to federal charges naturally raised eyebrows, even if there was no awareness of those allegations at the time. Supporters argue the couple may not have known anything about his legal situation. Skeptics push back, saying public figures at that level usually run background checks before accepting high-value travel perks. That's where commentators say the dots start connecting, at least in theory. One situation reportedly involves alleged financial movement through banking systems abroad. The other centers on reported cash transport through an international airport. To be clear, there is no claim that Meghan Markle participated in or knew about any illegal scheme. Observers repeatedly stress that similarities in timing or circumstance do not equal proof. Still, the conversation keeps rolling because the circumstances appear unusual when viewed side by side. Different events, similar financial questions, a timeline that fuels online debate.
Truthful about a lot of the things he says in Spare about this. Well, we want that story to die, so we're going to give you this story. However, he does it today. Him and Meghan do the same thing today. I've seen that Meghan and Harry tried to discredit certain media outlets because they don't like what they're going.
At the end of the day, this remains speculation and public discussion, nothing more. Analysts note that when public figures are indirectly linked to individuals facing financial allegations and later face procedural scrutiny themselves, questions naturally follow. It doesn't imply guilt. It simply means attention increases. And that's why talk about the alleged airport security footage has intensified so fast. If that airport security footage exists and ever becomes public, experts say it would be nearly impossible to reinterpret. Modern airports are covered in cameras from wall to wall. Every checkpoint, every scanner, every customs station, it's all recorded for safety and legal reasons. Sources who claim familiarity with airport procedures say the alleged footage captures the entire interaction from beginning to end. From Meghan Markle walking up to the checkpoint, to the luggage moving through scanners, to her reportedly being asked to step aside for additional screening. Reports claim the moment the suitcases were opened was caught on camera, along with the reactions, the visible confusion, and the phone calls that allegedly followed. Explanations were reportedly given, clarifications attempted, all of it unfolding in real time under official supervision. Here's why people say this part matters. Unlike paparazzi shots or edited online clips, official security footage is recorded inside a controlled federal facility. It's documentation, not commentary. If the sources are accurate, the system may also capture audio, meaning questions from security personnel and responses provided.
A while back, she made a really big deal of it. I think it was in the Netflix that Archie, when he was like barely 2 years old, was telling everyone to travel safe when saying goodbye. He was like, travel safe, travel safe, travel safe. She said this and she was like, he's not even 2 and he's always saying it and it's so cute. That's what she claimed. And she made a big deal. You know, worth it. Remember?
I'm a real mom.
But you know what it got me thinking about? Meghan and Harry's travel safe obsession. Now, of course, we should all travel safe. That's a relatively normal thing to say. No,
would be preserved as part of the record. Online discussions claim that when documentation is allegedly missing during large cache screenings, materials can be shared with relevant agencies as routine procedure. That could include TSA, Customs and Border Protection, or financial oversight departments, depending on reporting thresholds. A review, experts stress, does not equal an accusation. It simply means verification. Many people miss this key point. It is not illegal to carry cash. It is not illegal to travel with money. What federal regulations require is proper declaration when amounts exceed specific limits, especially during international travel. Travelers must file forms explaining the source and intended use of significant funds. That's standard compliance. Cash is harder to trace than bank transfers. So when high-value individuals who have access to formal banking systems reportedly choose physical currency instead, it naturally raises procedural questions. Experts emphasize that legitimate business and investment transactions typically leave paper trails. That's why this story keeps trending, not because of confirmed wrongdoing, but because the method, timing, and optics don't align with what people usually expect. Think about it for a second. If money truly needs to move for a legitimate business purpose, there are endless professional channels ready to handle it. Accountants, lawyers, financial advisors, banks that process wires in minutes. Payments can be made through documented transfers, certified checks, corporate accounts, or verified digital systems. These methods create clean records and protect everyone involved. That's exactly why financial analysts say large amounts of physical cash immediately trigger attention. Cash removes the automatic paper trail, and regulators treat it differently for that reason.
So when Meghan found a way there, it's hardly surprising that she felt right at home. Soho House isn't just a club, it's a scene, a network, a place where Hollywood hopefuls rub shoulders with high society heavyweights, all while being surrounded by decor that's a little provocative.
It was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit. John, can you just delete it, please, that bit? Because I don't want to go down.
I feel as if the media treats women unfairly.
You don't really have an opinion. And I think it's quite fun to keep coming back with an opinion. Is that the rebel in me? I think that...
Now, here's where online discussions say things get heavier. Multiple sources claim this situation was not isolated. Some reports suggest that during previous international trips, Meghan Markle was allegedly flagged for secondary screenings as well. Not always about cash, sometimes high-value items, sometimes packing patterns that automated systems are trained to detect. Airport security doesn't rely on guesswork. Every secondary check is logged. Every unusual scan is recorded. Every explanation offered or not offered becomes part of a documentation. According to commentators familiar with aviation compliance, those records don't just disappear. Repeated flags over time can form a pattern, especially with frequent international travel. One screening alone might mean nothing, but repeated incidents, if they occur, can reportedly trigger broader reviews. That's when matters can move beyond routine customs checks into compliance oversight. Information in certain situations may be shared with Homeland Security, financial oversight divisions, or other federal departments, not as accusations but as reviews. That distinction is critical. But consultations reportedly didn't stop at surface-level advice. Sources claim attorneys experienced in customs compliance and federal financial reporting were brought in. Not media strategists, not branding experts. Legal specialists who understand how cross-border reporting works in real time. Observers say, bringing in that level of expertise suggests the situation, at least internally, was treated as serious enough to warrant precision. There are also claims that efforts were made to resolve any concerns administratively before anything escalated publicly. Quiet clarifications, supplemental documentation, possible corrections if required. From a compliance standpoint, that's often how these situations are handled. Analysts point out a hard reality, though. Once records are logged across multiple agencies, TSA, customs, financial reporting databases, the narrative becomes harder to contain. Too many departments, too many systems, too many digital trails. If footage or official reports were ever released, control over the public story would shift instantly. That's why commentators speculate that multiple response strategies may have been prepared behind the scenes. One approach if public clarification became necessary, one if authorities issued formal statements, and one if nothing surfaced at all and the story faded naturally. To be absolutely clear, no charges have been announced. No official findings have been released. Everything currently being discussed remains speculation, analysis, and public debate. However, legal experts note that undeclared cash violations can carry penalties depending on intent, documentation, and cooperation. That said, most analysts emphasize that severe consequences typically require clear proof of intentional misconduct. In many federal compliance cases, especially for first-time reporting issues, outcomes often involve fines, corrective filings, or administrative resolutions rather than extreme penalties. Cooperation and documentation usually matter more than online commentary. That's the question dominating every thread right now. Will Meghan Markle actually face serious legal consequences? Some online voices predict the worst. Legal professionals say that without verified evidence of deliberate wrongdoing, extreme outcomes are unlikely. But as long as questions remain unanswered, speculation isn't fading. Here's where the narrative shifts. Even without formal charges, reputational impact alone can be powerful. Public figures who build brands around integrity, empowerment, and transparency face heightened scrutiny when financial compliance stories trend, even if unresolved. Industry analysts often note that corporations move cautiously when reputational risk appears. Streaming platforms, sponsors, investors, they assess optics quickly. They don't operate on emotion. They operate on risk calculations. Observers have already pointed out that recent projects tied to Meghan have not generated the explosive momentum many anticipated. Add prolonged controversy into that mix, and some analysts suggest brand partners may pause, evaluate, and wait before committing further resources. Then there's Prince Harry. Commentators have speculated that when legal or compliance matters involve one spouse, indirect immigration or residency questions sometimes enter quiet conversations. Not automatic consequences, not guaranteed outcomes, but enough to create background pressure in complex international situations. What stands out most to online analysts is the public silence. No detailed press conference. No aggressive public campaign labeling reports as completely fabricated. No rapid-fire lawsuits dominating headlines. In modern celebrity culture, when accusations are considered baseless, responses are often loud and immediate. Here, the reaction has appeared restrained. That silence has sparked two primary theories. Either the situation is sensitive enough that speaking too soon could complicate matters, or the strategy is to let speculation burn out without adding fuel. Some analysts argue that silence can be strategic, especially if official documentation exists somewhere in the system. Deny something too forcefully, and if later information complicates that denial, the fallout multiplies. That's not necessarily admission. It's risk management. Timing also plays a major role. Meghan is reportedly working to strengthen her brand positioning and rebuild long-term influence. Extended compliance conversations dominating headlines don't create a favorable environment for lifestyle branding or corporate partnerships. If any formal action were ever announced, experts say companies would likely evaluate quickly, not out of emotion, out of contractual obligation and shareholder responsibility. From a royal perspective, critics argue such a scenario would reinforce concerns long expressed by figures like King Charles III and Prince William about judgment and public perception. But that remains commentary, not confirmation. Here's the balanced reality. None of this confirms wrongdoing. It confirms uncertainty. It could be misunderstanding. It could be procedural confusion. It could be explanations that simply haven't been made public. The reason the conversation continues isn't because of proven facts. It's because the timing, associations, and controlled response don't align neatly in the public imagination. If everything were entirely fabricated, some believe the reaction would be louder. Instead, it's measured, and that measured tone keeps curiosity alive. Now the world waits, waiting to see whether any official clarification surfaces, waiting to see whether the matter closes quietly without further development, because the final narrative won't be decided on social media threads. It will be shaped through documentation, compliance reviews, and formal decisions far from the spotlight. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this resolves quietly, or is there still more ahead? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.